Shortcuts on the field, defenders they shiver. Goalkeepers nervous, strikers they'll deliver. Crowd roll.
Welcome to the Ugamari Football Channel. So today we have a lot of topics to talk about, and welcome to Good Morning Football. So let's go. The first thing we're talking about is, of course, Ange has been sacked by Spurs. Despite winning the Europa League trophy with Spurs, and then he's been sacked. If I don't understand how he finished last, is he 17th? So probably that's the reason. But on the flip side of it, you could say maybe winning that trophy could have been the spark that this team would have needed. Because sometimes I remember when Chelsea, won that Carabao Cup, it wasn't the biggest trophy to win, but Chelsea won that trophy, and it led to sort of instigated Chelsea's success under Jose Mourinho. So this could have been the same thing for Spurs. Not like I care about Spurs anyway, but just saying this could have been maybe the spark they needed. But he's been sacked, and then we hear that you have the Fulham coach as one of the sort of candidates, as well as the Fulham coach, as well as the Brentford coach as well. That's Thomas Frank, as reported by Ben Jacobs. So, what do you think about these choices? Now, the thing with football fans is we can be very, very fickle, because some fans will say, "Oh, Ange out, his ridiculous high line," didn't care about defending. But with Thomas Frank, he's not going to play the kind of football that you want to play. He's going to sit deep. He's going to defend deeply. 3 months in, or let's even say 5 games in, will people start saying, how come, 3 months in, who's that saying, or three games in, or 4 games in, would fans begin to say, oh, this is not the Spurs way, or I rather prefer Ange had been in the team. Now, I think Marco Silva is a bit more flexible in the way he plays and could be a suit for Spurs. So if you're a Spurs fan, what do you think? Even though you're not a Spurs fan, what do you think about Ange being sacked? So especially for a team that hasn't won anything in 17 years, and that was, I think, was the League Cup they won 17 years ago, and now to sack him. Well, I understand league finish is everything, but for me, I think there's some mixed feelings here because he got them into Champions League by winning the Europa League trophy. So that should have given him some credit in the bank. But then again, I'm sure probably a month to that Europa League final, probably the decision to sack him must have been made by Daniel Levy. And then as well, on the list, you have Andoni Iraola. Now, this is a more perfect fit for Spurs in terms of what they would want to see, attacking football and other stuff. So possibly that's what they would should and could go for. But for me, hopefully they get a very, very bad coach. I don't really like Spurs. But anyway, all the same, good on Spurs, as in good on Ange. He's won them a trophy. He's the most successful manager in 17 years, which is not the most difficult thing to do. So he is gone. And this is according to Ben Jacobs. So we'd like to know your thoughts and opinions about that. So that's it for the Spurs news. And then we go on to talk about Victor Osimhen. Yeah, Victor Osimhen's news, of course, making the rounds. They talk of him being signed by of interest rather being shown, by the Saudi Pro League club Al Hilal, and it talks of them offering 30 million euros for his salary a year. 30 million euros. Wow. That is absolutely madness. Madness. I say absolute madness. But then there's talk about it. Just a bit mixed news. Some people say he's agreed. Some other reporters say he's not agreed. Still waiting on. He's still waiting and hoping to play in Europe, remain in Europe. And we have people who are saying there's a huge difference, or at least a €5 million difference between what Napoli are requesting, that's his present club, and what the Saudi Pro League club Al Hilal are willing to pay. Now, what I always say is I will never tell a player, do not get the bag. Go get the bag if that's what you want to do. And for me, I'm not, how to put this now. For me, I'll never criticize a player. I'll never tell the player, don't get that money. Because at the end of the day, we are football fans. We watch the game. We love the game. Now, football players, they love the game as well, but it's their job. That's how they make their living. Some of them, once football is done, they don't have any other skill. They don't have any other thing to do. And even if they want to do something else, it's usually based off of the funds they get or the sort of wages they earn from football. So I have no issues with Victor Osimhen going to Saudi. But the thing I want to say is this: if you want to go as a Nigerian player to the Saudi Pro League, you must be willing to accept the possibility that that it wouldn't be very easy for you to come back to the Premier League or European football in general, because the narratives will be set that you are greedy, you have character issues. It will be set. Unfortunately, that is how it is. That is how it is. That is how it is. It's unfair for me. It's unfair. That's one of the things I try to address on this channel. I say it's unfair the way African players are treated, but it is what it is. But if you've come to yourself to say, I play football, I make money off of it, that's what I want to do, I don't care about any sort of European legacy or anything like that, then fair and good, fine, do that. But don't go to Saudi and think, oh, I'll waltz my way back, to the Premier League or to the Ligue 1 or to the Italian Serie A. Don't think that, because that is not going to happen. You have like a 3 or 4% chance of that happening. So for me, 13 million euros, probably even if I get €1 million, probably I'll be in Saudi already. So that's fair play. Fair play to Osimhen. If he does go, it's not confirmed yet. In fact, let's see what Fabrizio Romano, Transfer Insider, had to say. I'll read off what he has to say, and I'd like to know what you think about Ange being sacked by Tottenham Hotspurs and the candidates Thomas Frank, Marco Silva, Iraola, the Bournemouth coach. What your thoughts on it, and then the thoughts about Victor Osimhen's transfer saga now. What are your thoughts about it? So I'll share my screen in a minute, and then we'll go on. We'll go on and have a discussion around it. So this is according to Fabrizio Romano. He said 13 hours ago. So Al Hilal have now improved their proposal to Victor Osimhen and Napoli to try and reach an agreement soon. Galatasaray have been pushing in the last 24 hours, but Al Hilal keep insisting with improved proposal for 70 million euros to Napoli and a higher salary to Victor Osimhen. Now, if this was an European club, everyone would have been saying it's a good deal, and it's a good deal. 70 million euros isn't bad. It's very, very good. I think it comes really close to what Napoli are looking for. And for me, it begs the question: Victor Osimhen, 70 million euros available, and no one is wanting to go for him in Europe, as in the main European clubs. Rather, people are willing to spend money on, the likes of Hugo Ekitike, 84 million pounds, Florian Wirtz, 109 or so million pounds. So it gets me thinking, what is the issue? And I'll say this: some people may not like this, but this is the truth. This is the truth, the gospel truth. I tell you, this is the truth. When the system wants to teach you a lesson, it teaches you a lesson. When the system wants to tell you you're not that big, we can still control you, because football is the biggest dance for me boy platform. Football and organized sports. Because if his ability on the pitch, Victor Osimhen has the ability on the pitch. He scored goals, Napoli, helped them win the league title. He's gone to Galatasaray, tons of goals, helped them win their domestic double, and possibly to qualify for Champions League. But and then when it comes to attitude on the pitch, he's not one of those lazy players that, okay, if you don't pass me the ball, then I wouldn't make a move. He shows aggression on the pitch. He presses, And then what do we get? Oh, attitude issues when his own club disrespected him. But now no one wants to sign him in mainstream Europe. So that's just some food for thought for you. So for me, I would love Chelsea to sign him, but apparently they wouldn't sign him. £30 million have been spent on Liam Delap. He's been given the number 9 shirt. So he is the guy that probably will be going with coming into the season. So let's see how that shakes out. But Victor Osimhen, I really wish that he could have, come to Chelsea or go to any top European club. But if that doesn't work out, then go to Saudi, make that money. That's all I can say. So that's it for Victor Osimhen. And now we switch. I will be coming back to some club news, but we'll switch over to talk about the international friendly match played by Nigerian Super Eagles. Olakunkle Olusegun played his first game for Nigeria. He made his debut. Actually played about 14 minutes or so in the game. So fair play to him. In some videos, I've given my opinion about him, and people felt like I was being overly critical. But no, I told you he's an exciting player. He's got pace. He's got skill. But his production is where we have an issue, and hopefully he gets to improve. And now there's something I have to say. If you invite a player, that means you've scouted him, you've seen him, whether or not he's perfect, you've seen some potential in him. You should have given him more minutes to see what he can do, because this is the last game. This friendly match they played is the last game before the World Cup qualifying games. So you should have given him more game time. See what it's all about. If he fits what you want, then you can incorporate him into the main Super Eagles team proper, and then you move on. If it doesn't suit what you want, then you've given him, fair opportunity to show what he can do. He just hasn't impressed you, so that's okay. You can, that's fair play. You can let him go. That's fair enough. So I want to get opinions on Olakunle Olusegun's debut, his performance. What do you think about it? And then for me, another player that I need to talk about is Raphael Onyedika. Top player. I keep saying this. Raphael Onyedika shouldn't be a bench player for the Nigerian Super Eagles. I don't see any reason he should be, and I don't see any player on that pitch for the Nigerian Super Eagles in that midfield position that I can say, oh, this player is better than him, or this player should be keeping him out. I have not seen that player. So he shouldn't be sitting out on the bench for any reason. He should be sitting out on the bench for any reason, because he is that good. He's that good. So whether it's Wilfred Ndidi shouldn't come close to keeping him on the bench for whatever reason. He should be starting. Now, I'll just share a post about his stats during the game, and we'll have a discussion around it. And then we'll talk about one player that I feel Eric Chale is playing out of position. And for me right now, that has become strike 2. That is now strike 2. Strike 2. Strike 2. So I'll share this post about Rafa Onyedika, talk about his stats and performance through the game. And then I'll talk a bit more about him. But let me know what you think in the chats. Drop your comments and let us keep it going. I'll share my screen in a minute. Just a second. So Rafa Onyedika, 90 minutes played, 97% pass accuracy, 100% long ball pass accuracy, 100% dribble accuracy, 2 shots, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 fouls, 1. Of course, the whole midfield gem. there's no reason for Rafael Onyedika to be on the bench. There is no reason. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He should be one of the first names on that team sheet. So for me, like I said, that midfield, it should be Rafael Onyedika for one, should be there. And then we should also be having Ebenezer Kinsimiro in that midfield, and then Uche Crisantos. Now, speaking about Uche Crisantos, I think he's been misprofiled. He's not a 10. He is not a 10. He is a box-to-box midfielder that should start from deep and then progress the play that way. And Chelsea has done this with Olakunkle playing him as a left back for whatever reason. But with Felix Ago coming in, hopefully that was changing. But in the game, in the World Cup qualifying game, he played Olakunkle at right back. And I said, that doesn't work for me. And I don't know what you think about it, but for me, that just doesn't make sense. And now we're seeing Uche Crisantos play in the 10 role. I don't get it. I do not get it. There should be a number 10 in Nigeria, in the grassroots, in the MPFL, dual nationals. There should be. I've talked about Ethan Wannery for a lot, but there are other number 10s. Go and scout and get an actual number 10 and stop playing players out of position. For me, it doesn't make sense. When you play a player in his rightful position, then that player will be able to thrive, and show you what he's got. So I don't get why, Rafael, why he's playing Uche Crisantos there. Is it because of the lack of a 10, or is still trying to understand, what he is all about? That if he's only just now trying to figure out what he's all about, then we have an issue there. Then we're having a problem. Uche Crisantos, for me, at his best, is when he's deep, he sits deep, and then can hold the ball, make that progression, go box to box, attack and defend in equal measure. I think that is when where he is at his best. That's when he's at his best. So, Undertale's opinions are on that, on what I've said so far about. So, we've got someone in the chat. What is saying now? We have more midfielders that should be considered. Onuche Ugelu of Esperance, Anthony Dennis, Gustape, Victor Eleto, Ebenezer Kinsimiro, Tochukwu, Nadi, even Kelechi Wakali should be considered. Now, Kelechi Wakali, for me, this is what I say about Kelechi Wakali. Kelechi Wakali is someone I think is going to Barnsley. He's tried to prove himself there. So if you're looking for a 10, he is a 10. He is a 10. But I just don't want to see players being played out of position, because this happens a lot in world football, not just with Nigeria. It happens a lot in world football. We've seen Lampard do with Kante, playing him as a box-to-box midfielder when we know he's a 6. He's played out of position. We've seen Kai Havertz played as a 9 by Mikel Arteta when we know he is an 8 or a 10 at the most. So when coaches do that, I don't know what they want to achieve. So, but back to Rafael Onyedika, very outstanding performance against, in that friendly match that was played. So hopefully Eric Chell has seen enough to say he must play, and he should always play and always start. No other person for me, even Wilfred Ndidi, shouldn't bench him. If you're going with a 2-man midfield, I will go with him, Uche Crisantos. I'll go with him, Ebenezer Kinsimiro. That's what I'll be going for. That's what I will be going for. Now, I will be coming back to a bit of more Nigerian news, but I'll have to say this as well. Uche Crisantos plays as a striker, Getafe. Yeah, that's the truth about it. Someone was having this debate and argument with me, and I pointed this out. I said, You have Caicedo that sometimes plays as a right back for Chelsea. That doesn't mean he's a right back. He is a midfielder. We've had situations where, you've had Michael Essien in those days playing as centre back. He was never a centre back. But for whatever reason, Chelsea's Jose Mourinho decided to play him as a centre back. It just doesn't work that way. People say he has offensive traits. He has attack-minded traits. But that doesn't make him a striker. In fact, you're taking away what makes him special. Because as a striker, Crisantos Uche is average. As an attacking midfielder, Crisanto Uche is average. But as a defensive midfielder, he is spectacular because when you add his defensive abilities to his attacking abilities, then he becomes super special. You get what I mean? So when you're playing out of position, you're reducing his quality, you're reducing how he can impact the game. Now, we'll talk about some Manchester United news. Apparently, according to Ben Jacobs, Mbeumo, Manchester United have offered £60 million plus to Brentford for the services of Mbeumo. Now, if you're a Manchester United fan here, what do you think about this bit of news? Mbeumo, first off, is he a player you rate? Is he someone you would like to see at the club? So, first off, for me, there are some of these people who are always, how do I say this? That always want to criticize teams. Oh, Manchester United is spending too much money. First off, I do not like Manchester United. I want them to get relegated. But that's what I want, but that's as opposed to reality. But for Manchester United, you should do all you can do to get the targets that you need to get. The way the market is already crazy. So if £60 million would get you that player, fair play. Go out and get the player. Go out and get Mbeumo. Go out and get Mbeumo. So go out and get Mbeumo. So Manchester United fans, I'm asking you this. Do you rate Mbeumo as, an addition to you? So I think people try to make him a winger. I think he can be that sort of 10 behind the striker, because if Amorim wants to go with his 3-4-3 formation, you have Mbeumo and you have another person, maybe Cunha, being the 2 10s behind the main striker. So who knows? Maybe that would work with Højlund. But I know United fans are all out on Højlund at the minute. So put a pin on the Mbeumo news and Mbeumo discussion. We'll get back to it quickly. So some Newcastle United fans are upset. Oh, they should have gotten Mbeumo. Manchester United are ruining the market. Your club should offer up the money. Your club should offer up the money and stop waffling about. Stop waffling about. If your club wants to get a player, his services should be paid for. So do what you can. Manchester United haven't gone to Brentford to say, "Oh, you worth 5 million. Okay, he's worth 5 million. Take extra 55 million." No, that's what Brentford wants. So I think they should offer. Manchester United offering up the money to get the player they want is the right thing to do. And then for me, the only time it becomes an issue to pay huge sums transfer fee for a player is when obviously the player isn't good enough or the player doesn't suit the style of football you want to play. For me, that's the only time it doesn't quite make sense. When you get a player who maybe has got 3 goals or 5 goals and 5 assists, and then you rush and sign him for 75 million euros, just like they did with Højlund. So that's why people try to compare Højlund and Victor Osimhen. I just think people are silly when they do that. Højlund scored 9 goals, and then you went and paid 75 million euros for him. That's about 70 million pounds. So it doesn't make sense for me. It doesn't compute for me. So if Mbeumo is the guy for Amorim's system, get him in the building for Manchester United fans. And then has Osimhen accepted Saudi Arabia term? There are conflicting reports on that one. You've had Buchi Laba come out to say there are several offers that have been made, but Victor Osimhen is still considering offers. And then you also had Ben Jacobs, an English journalist come out to say that Al Ahly have upped their bid. Same thing with that they're still in there. They haven't walked away. Same thing with Fabrizio Romano has come up to say they've upped and increased their bid. So no clear acceptance yet, but the Saudi Pro League club are still pushing. Now, for me, it's fair play. I'm a Chelsea fan. I would love Victor Osimhen at Chelsea, but for whatever reason, Chelsea have chosen to go for Liam Delap and giving him the number 9 shirt. So when you get the number 9 shirt, that is an instant indication that you will be starting. That's what it means. You get number 9 shirt, that means you're the guy that should start. So that's it, And then, Manchester United not looking his way. The talk of Victor Gyökeres probably going to Manchester United with Amorim, his former coach. When Amorim was the Sporting Lisbon coach, he had Victor Gyökeres as one of his players. So maybe that's a better fit for Manchester United. And then Arsenal, they're looking at Sesko. And that's one thing I want to say. When the system wants to deal with you for whatever reason, it does deal with you. So Stephen Okoro says, I think Victor Osimhen should remain with Gala if there are no other European clubs willing to pay, what he wants. Saudi League is it's a no for me at this point of his career. Yes, Stephen, I get your point 110%. And this is what I always say. If you're a Nigerian player and you want to go to, or an African player that plays for an African country, if you want to go to Saudi, there are two things involved. If you decided that, my career is done, I want to go to Saudi, win as much money as I can make as much money as I can get. I don't care about any sort of legacy in any European club. Football is football. I'll go there, play a sport I enjoy, make money, retire, and be fine. Then beautiful, no problem. But if you have this mindset that, I want to build some sort of legacy, win Champions League trophies and stuff like that, then don't go to Saudi. Because the narrative will be so against you, it will be shocking that it will be difficult for you to come back in. That's the way I look at it. So people are underrating the importance of Oladele Ojerinde says you people are underrating the importance of Frank the Tank. He is doing a lot of dirty jobs for the Eagles. In fact, he was the major reason we got to the AFCON final. Now, fair enough, he does a good job, no doubt about it. I wouldn't say he's not doing a good job. I just feel certain players have shown that better. For me, Frank Onyeka should still be in the squad, 100% going into the World Cup qualifiers, and then hopefully if Nigeria qualifies for the World Cup, goes to the World Cup, and then in the AFCON as well, he should be in that AFCON squad. So for me, I'm looking at the likes of Uche Crisantos, Rafael Onyedika, Ebenezer Akinsimero, and then Frank Onyeka as well. So the sort of people I'm looking for to be in that midfield. There's one name, I'm not going to mention the name because each time I mention that name, people say, you don't like the player. But when you look at it, he shouldn't be here at all. So Frank Onyeka definitely should be in the squad. I'm just saying my main guys to start, Crisantos Uche, Ebenezer Akinsimero, Rafael Onyedika. If you're going with a 3-man midfield, if you're going with a 2-man midfield, I'll go with Rafael Onyedika and Ebenezer Akinsimero because I think with those two, we can actually dominate football. Taiwo says, it will be sad. It will be a sad situation if Osimhen should go to Saudi Arabia. Even Philip Otele had to leave the Qatar League and came back to Europe to resurrect his career. Yeah, it will be sad. It will be sad if that indeed happens. But I'll just talk a bit of transfer news and then I'll get back to the Victor Osimhen news and some Nigerian discussion as well. So there's talk of Chelsea being linked to the Ghanaian international and Western player Mohamed Kudus. Now, his release clause is £85 million. That's a lot of money. I'm not sure Chelsea will be willing to pay that. I'm not quite sure. But then again, this sort of ownership, the sort of focus right now on the salary of the player and then being able to overpay the release clause so that they can pay the installments over a longer period. So maybe if it would have been you paid over in 3 years, they're looking at, we'll be able to pay if we offer, let's say, £100 million we'll be able to pay it over 6, 7 years or 10 years, as the case may be. So now there's a question I want to ask, because a lot of players, a lot of Chelsea fans are super excited at this minute. Oh yeah, kudos, give me kudos. I want me some kudos. I want me some kudos. Fine, you want you some kudos. Where is he going to play? I know people see Kudus as this player that can play right wing, left wing, 10, striker. Kudus is not a striker. He's not a good striker. But as a 10, baller. Absolutely. Absolutely, he is a baller as a 10. Then the question comes, would he get game time? Because we all know Enzo Maresca loves Cole Palmer. I love Cole Palmer. He's Chelsea's most important player at the minute. So would he play? Would Enzo Maresca go with 2 10s? I don't think so. So because at Chelsea we have a player, there is a player at Chelsea that is in the same ilk as Kudus. When I say this, people say, oh, what do you mean? There is Christopher Nkunku. He is in the same ilk as Mohamed Kudus. He can play that 10, behind the striker, but he wasn't given any game time. When Palmer was injured, when Palmer was struggling, was having a bad run of form, he never even came off the bench for 20 minutes. And I'm saying this, Kudus is not a winger. People think he is a winger. People say, oh, you give West Ham Madueke and get Kudus. No, he is not a winger. He's going to struggle playing out wide. He is the kind of player that needs to have freedom to move about, and carry the ball. So he has the ability to carry the ball better than Nicole Palmer. So that is the thing people have to consider, because people do this thing where, this player is a new player, bring him. How does he fit in? A player might be a fantastic player, but how does he fit in? That's the question to answer. Now, back to some of the chat. Say Olakunkle is lucky to play in Russia where the friendly was played. I don't see him as a Super Eagle player. Yeah, for me, I've said this about Olakunkle. He is pacey. He is skillful. But for someone that plays in the league that he plays in, to have contributed just 5 goals, that is a question mark for me. That is a huge question mark for me. Because if you're playing in that league, if you're really, really good, you should at least get double figures in goals and assists. At least you should be hitting maybe your 10 goals. And you could say you add another 5, 6 assists. So you come up to 15 goals. If you're a winger and say, okay, you're not a primary goal scorer. That is what I think. But the one issue I had with how he was used is, if you see a player, that you say you like, you've scouted him, you've seen something about him, then in a friendly match like this, you should be giving him, game time. You should be letting him play. You should give him more time. Maybe give him 45 minutes. You give him 30 minutes, as opposed to, was it 14 odd minutes that he was given? So that's the issue. So that tells me that there was no real cogent plan with respect to his invitation. And I'm talking about players, invited that should be part of the Super Eagles, that are eligible or whatnot. Yes, finally Antonio Nusa scores for Norway, so that's over. That's my dream shattered. He's gone finally he's now tied fully to Norway. So good on him. Now Nigeria considered 4 goals in the last 3 games. They have all come from the right flank. Should we be worried? It's high time. Yeah, so for me, the thing is, when I talk about getting it right, okay, should we be worried? It's high time the coach considers Michael Kayode for sure. I would rather we invite players like Philip Otele, Shola Ogundona, Iraso on our wings to replace Simon Moses. Now, so I'll just take it one after the other. So Michael Kayode is someone I have liked as a right back. You know, one thing I want to say about right backs, this is a universal thing, whether it's Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Nigeria. A right back, you should have speed. You should not have a winger just beat you for pure pace. If a winger beats you, whether you play for a Chelsea, a Liverpool, an Arsenal, Nigeria, any country you play for, a winger shouldn't beat you for pure pace. The winger should beat you with some skill, some trickery, some disky, as South Africans would say. He should beat you with skill, something special. So for me, Michael Kayode is a candidate. There are other right backs that should be looked at as well to come in, because you can't have a right back. When I say this, people will drop in the comments and say all sorts of things, but when a winger just knows I can touch that ball and run past you, then you're done. You're absolutely done as a right back, and your team is done. Not even as a right back or as a left back, you're done. Even as a defender in general, if the striker just knows I don't need to do anything special, all I have to do is push that ball with pace, and I'm gone. That's it. So, I would rather we invite players like Philip Botella, Shola Ogundona, Iraso in our wings to replace Sarah Moses. So these are the kind of names I wanted to see in the Unity Cup. We saw Ahmed Musa instead, and some people we are happy with Ahmed Musa being the team. Fair play, fair play. I would have rather seen an Ogundona, Philip Botella, Nuwadeji Sternberg. There are other players that I would have rather seen in that position, given the opportunity to show what they can do. But that's it. That's it. That's the problem we have. So Olakunkle only played 15 minutes, but Odubayo says Olakunkle only played 15 minutes, but we could see that he was quite decent. He will grow into the team, even if he's not yet starting for us. Okay, fair play, fair comment, Odubayo. My only thing is, if he was invited, he should have been given more game time, because the Unity Cup, that opportunity is gone. This other friendly match was another game where, you should have tested players. That's another game you should have tested players. And another player I'm happy with is, is Tolu Arokodare. He scored his first goal for Nigeria. I will hope it counts. So he scored his first goal for Nigeria. A good pressing, decent, composed finish. So good on him. So we'll just run through what we've spoken about so far on this video. So the first one is Ange has been sacked by Spurs, and they're looking at Ange has been sacked by Spurs, and they're looking at Iraola or Bournemouth as a replacement. They're looking at Marco Silva as a replacement. They're also looking at Thomas Frank as a replacement. So I wonder what some opinions are in that respect, in that regard. If you're a Premier League fan, what do you think? First off, do you think it was fair to sack? Do you think it was fair to sack Ange Postecoglou after winning them their first trophy in 17 years? For me, mixed about it. Well, he got sacked, yeah, but he won the trophy. Performance in the league was poor. I just feel maybe that could have been the spark needed going into the next season. But he's gone, and then we talked about Mbeumo being linked to Manchester United. The reports are Manchester United have offered 60 million pounds for his services to Brentford, and for me that feels closer to what Brentford have been demanding. I think he will be a good fit at Manchester United. Mbeumo and maybe Cunha in those 2-10 roles behind the striker. That could be good for them. So, if you're a Manchester United fan, are you happy with that signing? Some people have been complaining and saying Manchester United are disrupting the transfer, disrupting the market by paying high fees for players. Sometimes you have to pay the money to get the players in the building that will help you win. So I have no issues with what Manchester United is doing. I wish Chelsea could do it in those key areas, because I think Chelsea really needs a top experienced number 9, but Delap is the guy, apparently. So let's see how that shakes down. So go down again. Steven Okoro's Uche was played in that role because there was too much options in the bench for the game against yeah. Onyedika is a top player and the midfield should build around him. Yeah, Onyedika, top player, 100%. He should always be in the team. No, he's in the team, and then Ebenezer or Crisanto should be by his side. I think that's the way forward. And then Frank Onyeka can also contribute a lot because he's an absolute tank. He would always have that energy even till he's 50. So he can be a squad player, in my opinion. So Odudayo says again, what's your opinion about Simon Moses? Should we be looking at players like Otele and Njima? Now, the thing with this is that Simon Moses, a good player, has contributed a lot to Nigerian football, Nations Cup appearances, his skills. He has been an exciting player. So that's good. That's good. But in football, it's almost like the Nigerian selectors don't often get this. You don't wait for a player to be absolutely old, can no longer move, maybe needs a walking stick or needs someone to carry him onto the pitch before you say, we need to get replacement. No, you should be able to say, okay, we're going to go for, this top play. We're going to go for these players so they begin to learn and begin to get integrated into the team gradually. So when this experienced player falls off completely, we have a ready, set, go replacement. So Otele has been on decent form for Basel. Njima, pacey, young player, has expressed willingness to play for the Nigerian Super Eagles. So I don't know why the NFF are not looking in his direction. So things like this should be considered. Sometimes we are so used to what we know. That's why some people, we're still happy about having Ahmed Musa in the team. Oh, Ahmed Musa, someone we know in all those years. But football is not an office job. Football, you can't play football to your 60, 70. Some office jobs, you can do them to your 80. If you're super smart, you can still be working as an 80-year-old in your office, in your library. But football is essentially 17 till maybe 30, 31. Then if you're super, super lucky, you can then go on to play 33, 34. If you're super, super fit, super lucky, God has blessed you so much that you don't lose your pace as a winger, then you can do that. So Taiwo says, if Manchester United didn't sack Amorim, I don't see any reason why Ange should be sacked. He won them their first European trophy. Now, yeah, I get your point. Fair point. Both of them went into the tournament, into that Europa League final. Manchester United, I'm sure, they have a bigger squad in terms of revenues salaries that they are paid, and I'm sure they would have been the favourites going into that tournament, despite the fact that both teams were languishing, just above the relegation spots. So, but then is, so when both of them played, Spurs won and lifted the trophy. And remember, coming to the season, he says, in my second season, I always win trophies. And he actually has gone on to win a trophy. So I get your point where Manchester United, Amorim hasn't won anything, and won. Amorim should have been the one to get the boots. But the thing is that an alternative argument that people will say is, Ange has been in the job. I think this is his second season. Now, so there some people say, oh, he must have, now he has more time. He's had more time, than Ruben Amorim. So that's why he should be sacked, because he hasn't shown improvement. So my thing has just been, this coach rather has helped this team win this tournament. So who knows? This could be the start of something beautiful for them, going forward. This could be the start of that winning feeling. You win with one coach and you want to run through the brick wall with the coach. For the coach going into the next season. So, but they decided against it. So fair play. I don't care about Spurs. So let's see what happens. Maybe they get Thomas Frank. And I want to tell Spurs fans, if you want Thomas Frank, are you going to be happy with 6, 7 men behind the ball defending deep? Would you be happy with that? So that's just a question, food for thought for people out there. We've talked about the Victor Osimhen thing to Saudi. And apparently, Al Hilal, the Saudi Pro League club, they're not going anywhere. They're still persisting with the transfer offer. They're still persisting, with the transfer offer. They're still persisting with negotiating with Victor Osimhen. The reports have been mixed generally. They've been saying things like Victor Osimhen hasn't agreed the transfer fee and the personal terms with the Saudi Pro League club. Some other people are saying, there's still a gap between what Napoli wants and what Al Hilal are willing to offer. And my general take on that issue is this: if you're a Nigerian player, an African player in general, eligible to play for African country, and you indeed playing for an African country, if you want to go to Pro League, there are two things. To Saudi Pro League, you must consider two things. Do I want to come back to Europe to play? Now, if you don't, top level. Now, if you do, I don't think you should move to Saudi. But if you've looked at it and say, man, after all, as a footballer, this is my job. I have to make the best financial decision for myself and my family. So it's all about making money in the end. At the end of the day, whilst we are fans, we love the game, we watch the game, we support various club sides, and we support our national team as well. We'll see differently. But a player, if you want to make that decision, then you make that decision. And so Taiwo says, can you pick your starting 11 for your next qualifying games? Mine, Okoye, Igor, Calvin Bassey, Felix Ago, Rafael Onyedika, Frank Onyeka, Alex Iwobi, Ademola Lookman, Chukwueze, and Victor Osimhen. Yeah, let me see. For me, would I drop Stanley Wabali just yet for Maduka Okoye? I don't think so. Stanley Wabali will still start for me as the goalkeeper. At right back, of course, Olaina will be there for me. At left back, now we have a choice. This is the kind of issues I love to see, where you have that choice to make. Where you have to make that choice. This is what I want to see. I love to see this. You having to make a choice. It's not just clear cut. You look at Bruno Yimachi and say, yeah, that's the guy. And then you look at the bench, nobody else. This is what I like to see. So for me, it's a toss-up. Bruno Yimachi or Felix Ago can start, in my opinion. So, but I won't sit on the fence. I'll say to start, I'll go with Bruno Yimachi to start there. And then in midfield, I'll go, then in the heart of the defense, I'll go with Igor Ogbu. And I'll go with Calvin Bassey. Same with you, but choose Ekong, a little shout, he's still the captain. So that is there. But for that physicality, I will go with Igor Ogbu and Calvin Bassey. So Benjamin Fredericks should definitely be on the bench. Then talking about midfield, for me, midfield, I will go with Frank Onyeka. I'll go with Rafael Onyedika and Uche Crisantos to start. And then in the second half, Frank Onyeka can come in and bring in his experience. So, and then in the 10 role for me, right now, the way it is, we don't have any 10. So I'll just go with Iwobi because we haven't got a 10. That's just the issue. We haven't got a 10. So Alex Iwobi will go there. But the thing is, does he have the energy to keep on pressing? That's a question to be answered. And then, of course, Victor Osimhen will be the striker for me for sure. Chukwueze, he has done something in this Unity Cup, in the friendly games he's played. And then, of course, Ademola Lookman, African Player of the Year, he must start 110%. And Victor Osimhen, no one changes him. No one can argue about Victor Osimhen for sure. For sure. So Dubai has gone with Ago, Aina, Ekong, Basi. So are you playing Basi at left back? Is Basi at left? Okay, Basi at Ekong center, Ago at left back, Aina at right back. So that's fine. So this is what I want to see, where you take off one player, put another, and you don't see a drop in quality. So good. In Didi and Onyeka to start, for me, that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. But still workable. Should be able to win against a Rwandan side. Let's see. And then you got Chukwueze, Uche Crisantos, Lookman, and Victor Osimhen. So that means you're playing Uche as a 10. For me, I have my issue with Uche as a 10. I think as a 10, he is average. As a 10, he is average. He has the physicality. He can take shots, but he's not a 10. There's something that 10s have. He just doesn't have it. As a 10, he's average to me. As a 6, he is top class. Top class. Just like N'Golo Kante at Chelsea. N'Golo Kante, when Lampard came in and played in this ridiculous box-to-box thing, some fans were even saying he's an 8, which was just madness in my opinion. He was average as an 8. Super average N'Golo Kante. But you play N'Golo Kante as a 6, best midfielder in the world. So that the same thing applies to Uche Crisantos. Because Uche Crisantos, he is that sort of 6 that has the energy to go both ways. He's got some attacking attributes about him. So when you mesh that attacking attribute with his defensive attributes and you place it in that 6, then he's super special. Because some 6, they know how to pass the ball, they can control the play, but they can't shoot to save they can't take shots to save their lives. They can't, really go forward. Some, they can go forward a bit, but not really good in doing the job they're actually meant to. They can't really defend. They can control play, but they can't defend. They don't have the athletic ability. But Uche has all this. So that is why he should be in that 6. And sometimes people think when you say 6, that means you should stand like a robot, never move, you're pinned there forever. No, there's dynamism of play. As the game progresses, you can be dynamic. But to have him as a 10, for me, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think it works. It suits him. Now, speaking of 10, another young Nigerian eligible player. He is eligible to play for Germany and Nigeria. He is on the books of Bayer Leverkusen, but he has gone on loan to Bochum, still in the Bundesliga as well. I think he's still in the Bundesliga, if I'm not mistaken. And he is Francis Onyeka, not to be mistaken with Frank Onyeka. He is Francis Onyeka. I think he's made a couple of Champions League debut for Bayer Leverkusen. I think he's made a Bundesliga debut as well, if I'm not mistaken. So wish him all the best. And it's another one, keep your eyes peeled on him from the NFL perspective, because as we can see, for some reason, that 10 role is something Nigeria doesn't really produce that much. We've got Itowaneri, that's the tie between England and Nigeria. Who would he go for? I think NFL should do more to get him in the building. And if I'm Itowaneri, I'm looking at it and asking myself, am I really going to be played ahead of Palmer? Is that really going to happen? I don't really think so. And Palmer is not 30 or 31 or 32. Palmer is 21, 22. So that means at least the way Palmer plays, he has 10 years still to play at the top level. He doesn't really rely on pace. So he can still play that 10 role for the next 10 years. So Peter Wanderer, do you want to be behind Palmer for till 10 years? When you be 27 or when you be 28? And that way you want to make your first team debut. So in that regard, so that's what I think about that. Now, so what else are we talking about? So we talked about all this transfer news. Kudos to Chelsea. What are your thoughts and opinions on that one? Is this someone, if you're a Chelsea fan, do you think Kudos is the sort of player you need to sign at this minute? For me, signing all these 10s, all these wingers, it is, super appealing, but that's not the area. The striker, that's where you should have gone all out, put all your investment. If you want to pay 100 million, you want to pay 90 million, you want to pay 65 million, get you that super experienced, ready to go now striker. Now, when you say this to some Chelsea fans, they don't want to hear this. They do not want to hear it. They'll say, bring. Oh, Delap, yeah, good signing. He can come in and still be good, but you will still have that thing of Liam Delap. He's super young, he's inexperienced, and that can and could be used as an excuse for him. People will be saying, "Oh, he's young. Oh, he's not experienced. Giving some more time." And that's some more time you're giving. That means this is a 6 transfer window, and you're counting the years keep increasing without Chelsea competing for the Champions League, for Premier League title, without Chelsea doing well in the Champions League. So that's something that Chelsea fans have to embrace. For me, Victor Osimhen would be perfect at Chelsea, but apparently the way it seems right now, it's not going to happen. For me, if it happens, I'll be genuinely happily surprised. But at this moment, it feels he may even go to Saudi or maybe Gala, because Galatasaray, he already has the bond with the fans. He loves the city and the way they welcomed him. I'm sure he loves it. And then the club pushing so much to get him. So maybe he goes to Saudi or he goes to Galatasaray. So let's see how that shakes down. Let's see what happens, in that regard. And then we'll be talking about the Nigerian friendly match that was played. Tolu Arokodare got his first goal for Nigeria. Hopefully that's first of many. Maduka Okoye was decent. And I'm seeing some starting 11 where people are putting him ahead of Stanley Wabale. For me, I still think Stanley Wabale is still ahead of him ever so slightly, but he's done himself a world of favors. He's done himself good by putting in the performance he put up against the national team that Nigeria play with. There's a reason I keep saying the national team. I know the country's name, but there's something that happened, and I want to know why that happened. So he played for the national team. So getting that goal against the national team in that friendly match, I hope when it comes to the big games, the World Cup qualifiers, AFCON, he should be in that team. And I think him. So there's Victor Osimhen, number one guy ahead of everybody. Then you have Tolu Arokodare, the second person behind him, and then Cyril Dessers. He's showing his goals, scoring his goals. And talking of players scoring goals, talking of Nigerian players, let's talk about Victor Boniface. Victor Boniface has come up with this statement talking about, hanging my boots. Now, if it was Victor Osimhen that said this, I would have, wow, really? If it was Simon Moses, I would have said, okay, maybe it's possible. It could be true. It could be serious. But Boniface saying he's retired, I just think that isn't going to happen. Of course, at some point, the player is going to retire. Well, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. So the thing gave one assist, retired. I'm not sure this is true. I'll share my screen and show you the quote. I'll share my screen right now so you see what he's saying. So Victor Boniface announces his retirement at the age of 24. Proud to play for my country and the dream for me. Also enjoyed every moment, the good and the bad. Thanks a lot. Thank you all. I don't hang boots. Yeah. Now, I don't think he has actually retired. I think Victor Boniface is being Victor Boniface. That's what I think. I think Victor Boniface has posted yet another funny thing again. So let's see how it shakes out. But if indeed he is retired, that would be unfortunate. What are your thoughts and opinion about it? Do you take it seriously? First off, do you take it seriously? Because we know Victor Boniface likes to joke, likes to play around. He's a very good footballer, but he likes to joke around and play around on X, on TikTok as well, other platforms. So what are your thoughts and opinions on that? Is he really serious, do you think? Now, if he's indeed serious, what are your thoughts and opinions about his retirement? Is it something you like? Is it something that you don't like? Do you feel he's too young for him to, have retired? So that's it. Chukwueze at 10. Now, Chukwueze at 10 would kind of work, but then again, who plays on the wings? Who play in his position? Now, I have a feeling. Are we going to play Nathan Taylor? Maybe. I have a feeling that Eric Chell may do what he did in the Unity Cup. Oh, that's the feeling I have. I have a feeling that Eric Chell would play um, Chukwueze and maybe even Ademola Lookman as sort of inverted wingers or tens or whatever behind an Osimhen. That's what I feel he would do. I don't want to see that, but I think that's what he would do. And then you would have your Felix Agu, your Bruno Yemachi, your Olaino, that's your fullbacks providing the width. That's what I suspect that he would do. That's what I think he would do. So, what if Eric Chell sets the team up that way? More like a 4-2-2-2, where you have your Rafael Onyedika, for instance, maybe alongside Frank Onyeka, and then you have Ademola Lookman and Chukwueze sort of as two central midfielders, two central attacking midfielders like 10s, and Victor Osimhen as the 9. Is this something that you would be open for? Because he's tried it. That's what he actually played. I think in the game versus Jamaica, you had Chukwueze and you had Teller in those roles behind the striker, and then you had the fullbacks providing the width. And that is why, if he's going, for me, I've said this about football. There are different ways to play football, set your team up, to your teams up. There are different ways to win games. That's why you have 4-3-3, 3-4-3, counter pressing, ultra defensive. You have different styles of philosophy of play. That's the beauty of football. But you must pick the right profile of players to play the style of football you want to play. And I'm going to say this again. And people, hopefully you don't get upset with me. But if you get upset, what can I do? It's just my opinion. I'm not the coach. Sadiq Ismaila cannot be the right back. If you want to play with your fullbacks giving you the width, you can't play him as your right back. You just can't do it. So hopefully Olaina on one side, Bruno Yemachi or Felix Agu on the other. I'm so happy that I'm able to say this. Felix Agu or Bruno Yemachi, you having quality options on that left wing. Now on that left back row, I want to see the same thing on that, on the right back row as well. I want to see another right back that can sort of, maybe not as good as Olaina, because we don't know how good Olaina is, but at least you're close, maybe just 5% short of what Olaina is, 10% short of what Olaina is, knowing that if he comes off, if Olaina has to be dropped for injury, poor form, or whatever, you know that you have someone that can come in and play. Now, Olaina doesn't get injured a lot, but certain things happen. Like in this friendly game, he was meant to play in this friendly match, but he didn't play. He asked to be excused and was excused. So that is so if you have that kind of situation in a World Cup qualifier, in the AFCON, and Olaina, whatever it is, says, oh, I need you to excuse me. If he's going to be excused, then you must have someone that can come in and take his spot. That wouldn't show a drop off. That wouldn't show a huge drop off in performance and ability, on the pitch. Now, people tell me Ismaila is a very good passer of the ball. I'm not going to argue. But one key function as a right back, you must be able to go 1v1 a winger. And most wingers now are electrifying in terms of pace that they have. So there you have it. So, thoughts and opinions on what we've discussed so far. And Mbeumo to Manchester United, that a good move. I think he could suit what Amorim wants to do at Manchester United. Let's see what happens. And then Arsenal, of course, still pushing to sign Benjamin Sesko. Arsenal fans, what do you think about Benjamin Sesko to your club? Is he a player that you want? Do you think he is the missing piece? Because everyone, has been on the opinion that Arsenal, just like Chelsea, need an actual striker that can be clinical and can take up chances that are created. So Benjamin Sesko, the pros for him, he's athletic, he is spacey, and then he is tall, 6'5", I think. So he commands the air very well, and he has good shooting technique. Apparently, that's the thing now in football. But on the downside is he's never been in a title sort of chasing side. You know, don't even call any team in in Germany as title chasing, because they don't really chase the title in Germany. Fair play, they only follow Bayern. If Bayern doesn't perform, then someone else has the opportunity to win the league. But if Bayern performs to their best, no team can compete with them. So he's never been in that sort of we are chasing the league sort of thing. Same thing I said with Liam Delap. You know, same thing I've said with Liam Delap. He's never been in that sort of situation. You know, and then as well, when you look at his output, whether is it 14 goals or so he scored this season for RB Leipzig. So 14 goals, how would that translate to an Arsenal side? How would that translate to Arsenal winning the league title, competing against Liverpool? You know, you have Salah. Salah would wake up tomorrow and score you 20 goals without even trying. Now, you may not like Liverpool or whatever. You may be a rival teams to Liverpool, like Chelsea, obviously. Hopefully, we can rival Liverpool this season. Manchester United, so you're a rival to Liverpool. But one thing you cannot do is you cannot deny the greatness of Salah. Salah can wake up any moment into the league, be absolutely poor, and score 25 goals in that season. So that's what you're competing against as an Arsenal. You know, if you want to compete, you sign a striker. Can that striker give you 20, 25 goals in the season? Can that happen? So all this is, I think, so for me, Sesko, young player, huge upside, but let's see how that shakes out if he can actually come and lead the line for a huge club like, you know, Arsenal. And then we go back and talk about Chelsea as well. Still, there's still to talk about Hugo Ekitike, with the clubs, with Frankfurt still insisting for £84 million, which is a huge amount of money. So they're still insisting on £84 million. Now, there's some reports that if Chelsea actually are serious about it, they could actually go and negotiate, and it could drop a bit, maybe to 70 odd or 60 odd. And that's something that could be more, you know, manageable, more affordable. Let's see how that shakes out if indeed he makes that move. So everybody on the video, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. For those who are new, hope you subscribe to the channel. And if you already subscribed and you've been sharing this video to, you know, other people as well who are interested in such content, thank you so much. This channel continues to grow. It's amazing your support. Really, really thank you for how amazing you've been. But at this point, I've come to the end of this video. But there'll be a video I'll be dropping as well, hopefully today, but if not today, it will be dropped tomorrow. It'll just to keep your eyes peeled on this channel. So that's why you should click the notification bell so you're notified each time I put a video on here. Because right now we've got Felix Agu from Werder Bremen. He's been super special. Now there is another fullback talent at Werder Bremen. So the question is, should Nigeria go for that fullback talent? Now, if you want to know who that guy is, then you must watch the next video. Thank you so much for your support. It means so much. See you on yet another video. Stay well and stay blessed.